Hey guys, Icy Cat here. Today I want to talk to you about special event playlists for Rainbow Six, what they've looked like, what's coming up next, and where it could go in the future. Let's talk about it next. We're going to have a little bit of a gap before we get the next special event. They declared that they are going to do a special event every season, and this is separate from the Discovery playlist that comes with the reworked or the new map. We don't know for sure what it is, but we have a very strong inkling that it is going to be set as a Wild West themed event. There were some audio lines that were leaked that went along with this, and there were also some skins that were leaked that showed what the new operators are going to look like. So while it's not 100% confirmed, it does sound like maybe that's the direction of the next event. It really got me thinking about the ways that you could do different special events. Now, when I think about this from Ubisoft's perspective, it takes a lot of work to put together these special event playlists. Whether we're talking about the Madhouse special event from Halloween, or the Road to SI playlist, or the April Fool's event, these things require some major redesigns of elements, and they may be reusing existing maps and existing assets, but they're completely retexturing them, adding new things, trying new things out, and all of that is very cool, and it's something that we definitely want to see them continue to do. And it sounds like the new Wild West event will continue that sort of a thing where we'll be taking familiar elements, operators, maps, things that we know, but completely reskinning them and changing the way they look. And that is a very exciting way to add these new special events every season. But to kind of bridge the gap in between them, it might be cool to have something that's a lot easier for Ubisoft to implement. And that's just working with the existing assets as they are. They don't even necessarily need any special reskins on maps or operators or anything like that. Just use what's already in the game right now and create a playlist centered on that. And I understand that the purpose for Ubisoft to do some of these special events is, of course, to be able to sell those new skins that come with it. So if they want to invest a little bit of time, they could do it, or they could just wind up doing a sale on some items that maybe they tie to that event. Either way, the purpose would be to keep it so that Ubisoft didn't have to spend a lot of time doing this so that they could make that content easily available. And there's a lot of fun ways you could do it. So some concepts I was thinking about would be using the existing maps and operators, but keeping them to a certain theme. And so like one of these could be like a CQB playlist. So this would be a playlist special event that would only have CQB maps like House, Plane, Favela. These would be like small, close quarters kind of maps, and also retaining that limited operator selection that some of these special events tend to use. By keeping the map pool small, you can focus a certain kind of gameplay. When Favela comes up in casual, everybody takes Maverick, but what if Maverick wasn't a selection that you could choose from? In fact, what if you only could take one hard breacher? Part of what makes Favela so challenging is that you have so many exterior walls that can be breached, and with 3 metal breachers, that makes it a very tricky map to try to play in any kind of a balanced way. And there's other balancing aspects with the map, but if you only had 1 or maybe 2 of the operators that can break through those walls instead of all 3, you really keep a little bit more flexibility in the way the map can be played rather than simply being attack dominated. So if you only have 5 or 6 different attackers you can choose and 5 or 6 different defenders you can choose, that really can kind of keep some interesting dynamics going. And again, this is just reusing the same things we already have in the game. So the map wouldn't have to be reskinned, the operators wouldn't have to have anything special. They could make something special for it if they wanted to, or they could just do it that maybe the Brazilian operators have a special that the sale price for the renown or the credit cost of their skins for the duration of that event are 50% off or something like that. And then you could do other kinds of playlists, like a vanilla playlist. This would be a special event playlist that would only have the maps that launched with the game and only access to the original operators that launched with the game. Some maps like Hereford Base that have received a total rework might be a little bit iffy on that playlist, and maybe they could be included or not, or maybe for the special limited time event, the original Hereford could be resurrected. The map does still exist in the game under the situation, so they could definitely bring it back if they really wanted to. But even if they didn't, or even if they just kept New Hereford in the rotation, it would still be something that said, hey, these are the original maps and the original operators, no DLC content. There's so many other kinds of themes that you could do though. What about a Frozen playlist? So this would be maps maps only in cold settings. You could play on Chalet, Yacht, and Cafe, and those would rotate between those 3 maps. And if you had limited operator selection, definitely access to both Frost and Buck. Alternatively, what about an Arid Desert playlist? So this would just be Fortress, Border, and Outback, and again, not have to necessarily make any brand new content for it, but maybe you want to have a sale on uniforms and headgears that have the desert camo going on. Not making any new content, but just saying, hey, you have these maps that are playable in these environments, and right now we're offering a sale 50% off on these various uniforms and headgears that go along with those. We could further expand that by region too, so you could say that we have like an Eastern playlist. So this would just be Skyscraper, Theme Park, and Tower, and then you could maybe have some discounted sale on items relating to operators that go along with those, or some of the themed settings or charms or what have you that way. Or you could do a wider, more expansive international playlist. So maybe Canal, Consulate, and Villa, and this is a little bit of a sprinkling of international locations, not necessarily centered on any one region. Maybe you want to get more specific and really make it inclusive of a very specific country as opposed to an entire region. So you could have like a French event, and this would be set on Consulate as the only map. And then on the attacker side, you would definitely have access to Twitch, Montaigne, Lion, plus whatever other 2 or 3 operators they want to throw in that mix. And then defensively, of course, you'd have Doc and Rook and whatever couple of other operators they wanted on that side. And then give discounts to maybe some of the CTU skins for weapons, or some of the uniforms for operators, maybe some of the charms that go along with the CTU, something like that. Maybe do a Russian event and have the only playable map be Cafe, and then you'd have Fuse, Glaz, and Finka on attack, with Tachanka and Kapkan on defense, plus whatever other few operators they wanted to round that out with. And then again, do special charms, maybe the uniforms, maybe the CTU weapon skins, have a discounted sale on those items. These are ways to keep a special event going pretty much at all times without asking Ubisoft to really do anything new in the way of having to come up with new content or spend any new art assets developing it. But as a community, we wind up having access to something that's unique and fun at all times. And if one of those playlists doesn't appeal to you, it's not a big deal because it's a completely optional separate event. You would just play ranked or casual like you normally would, and you don't have to participate in the event at all. So if you're like, wow, playing the CQB map sounds really fun, but I am sick to death of Skyscraper and Theme Park and Tower, I hate those maps, I don't want to do an Eastern playlist. Well, if they did that, then you just wouldn't do that for those 2 or 3 weeks that it was out or whatever. And because it requires nothing from Ubisoft other than to enable a mode using these existing maps and existing operators, and maybe toggling a sale on some certain items in the shop, it really requires nothing up front from them to really have to do. So what do you guys think about this? Does having these special kind of themed events available more frequently sound like something that you'd be more interested in? Or does that gap in between sort of need to be there to help you feel refreshed for when the new content does come around? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. Make sure you click that notification icon so you're alerted as soon as new content becomes available. You can also follow me over at IcyCat25 on either Facebook or Twitter. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.